Everyone tells you to make the same moves as last year, just faster. Reverse thinking required is the moment you stop playing their game and force the board to play yours. I'm JJ-the-CPA. This is the blueprint I use to rebuild my practice.
JJ here. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for following along as I read to you my book, Reverse Thinking Required. My business gave me a stroke. This is with Michelle Cornish. With this, if you're stumbling across this, check the body of this video for a link to the full playlist. You can go all the way back to the beginning. Also, if you haven't looked at the playlist, I've got some bonus material in there. Now, in this next chapter, what it's entitled, you may think this is going to be something technical, things to that effect, and it's really not. But really what I had to do after my stroke was, how do I determine how much I can handle without it being just a pure guess, okay? And so I had to break things down, spend a little time thinking about it, but I'm going to tell you, in about 30 minutes of really looking at the details of what the input is, and then I was able to know what my output would be based on that. But then here's what's important. When the output was not my desired result, then I knew how to easily go back and adjust the input. So with all of this being said, here we go into chapter 9. Efficiency equals output divided by input. Let's start this chapter with a little math. Not the kind you loved in school, but the kind that could change how you run your practice. Efficiency equals output divided by input. Simple formula, huge implications. Your output is what your firm or business delivers. For me, tax returns filed, consulting sessions held, strategy plans completed. Your input is what it costs you to produce that work, your time, your energy, your team's bandwidth, software tools, and yes, your mental focus. When you're efficient, you deliver more valuable output with less input. But here's where most firm owners go sideways. They focus only on increasing output without considering the required input. More clients, more work, more revenue. They forget to manage the input. And when that happens, things break, including you. I see this all the time. Someone doubles their client load without adjusting their calendar, pricing, or staffing. Suddenly, they're running on fumes, delivering late, and snapping at their family. But here's the shift. When you focus on high-value output that requires less personal input, your firm becomes more profitable and more sustainable. That's real efficiency. If it takes you 8 hours to complete a $500 return, that's $62.50 an hour. But if it takes you 4 hours to deliver $2,000 advisory session, well, that's $500 an hour. You tell me which one's the smarter use of your time. The goal isn't to crank out more work. It's to do better work with fewer resources so you can deliver high-value outcomes without burning out. If you're not controlling the input, you're probably burning out, or at least leaving money and peace of mind on the table. If you've been at one of my presentations, you may have heard me give the knee surgery example. Who would you rather go to, the surgeon who specializes in knees, works 4 days a week, takes vacations, and performs 3 surgeries a day with precision and confidence? Or the guy who does knees, hips, shoulders, and elbows, works 16-hour days, and rushes through every procedure? Most of us would choose the specialist. So why are you trying to be a generalist? The truth is, Your practice's efficiency is not just about symptoms and software. It's about alignment. You have to define 3 key elements: your area of expertise, your ideal client, and your available time. I'm going to read that again. You have to define 3 key elements: your area of expertise, your ideal client, your available time. That is the most key. When these 3 line up, your efficiency skyrockets. When they're out of sync, everything feels harder than it should. Let's take a look at some examples. Maybe you're a CPA who is known for your brilliant tax strategy work. You can look at a client's financials and instantly find 5 ways to save them money. But you're also still doing bookkeeping, payroll, and even the occasional audit because you feel like you have to. You're working 60 hours a week, exhausted, missing family dinners, and falling behind on the work you actually enjoy. If you sit down and take a good look at what's going on, it's pretty clear. Your genius is in tax strategy. Your ideal clients are 6-figure solopreneurs who need big picture guidance, and you only want to work about 35 hours a week so you can coach your daughter's soccer team. The fix? Cut the services that don't align. Create a streamlined onboarding system just for a tax strategy client, and build your calendar around those 35 golden hours. Within a few months, you'll be working less, earning more, and most importantly, feeling like you're finally in control of your business. This is what happens when you align your expertise, your ideal client, and your time capacity. Now, let's consider the sole practitioner who prided herself on being a one-stop shop. Her heart was in the right place. She wanted to help everyone. But the truth was, she was helping no one effectively, including herself. She had clients from every industry with every type of need: tax returns, bookkeeping, sales tax filings, business formation help, even a little HR and advice. Her work weeks were chaotic, and although she was putting in more than 50 hours a week, her income wasn't reflecting it. Worse, she felt constantly behind, like she was letting everyone down, including her family. What if she asked herself a simple question? If I could wipe the slate clean and build my practice from scratch, what would it look like? Let's say she said something like helping small restaurant owners understand their numbers and stay cash flow positive. The clarity could change everything for her. If she niched down, she could create tools specific to restaurants. She could let go of the clients that didn't fit, even though it was scary. And within 6 months, she could have a full book of clients in her ideal niche and be working 20% fewer hours. Sometimes the best way to scale isn't by adding more, it's by cutting the right things loose. Here's one more example. Devin is a CPA who runs a small practice with 2 junior staff and a growing list of clients. He's carved out a niche he loves: fractional CFO services for growth stage tech companies, but he can't seem to stay in that zone. He's still getting pulled into every email, every minor task, every QuickBooks question for his team and his clients. He's doing CFO work 1 hour, then answering email questions the next. He isn't aligned with his time capacity, not because he has the wrong clients, but because he hasn't built the right structure for himself. He needs to map out where his time is actually going, and more importantly, where it should go. He empowered his team with clear roles, hired a virtual assistant to manage his inbox, and created guardrails around his availability. The result? Devin reclaimed 10 hours a week of deep focus time for CFO strategy. And that alone allowed him to take on 2 new high-value clients without burning out. You don't always have to downsize to get aligned. Sometimes you just need to restructure around your strengths. Signs you're operating outside your efficiency zone. Maybe you're thinking, I'm doing fine. I'm getting everything done eventually. This sounds like survival, not efficiency. Your business is only going to be sustainable if you're efficient. You need to do the right work for the right people in a way that doesn't chew up your nights, weekends, and sanity. So how do you know if your practice is out of alignment? If you're not sure, here are a few red flags that show up when you're operating outside your efficiency zone. Number 1, you're constantly working late, but not making more money. You're grinding harder, but your output doesn't match your effort. Number 2, your clients expect too much or the wrong things. If clients think you're on a call for everything, you haven't clearly defined your offering. Number 3, you feel like you're always behind. That's a sign your workflow is out of sync with your capacity. Number 4, you're doing work that's outside your wheelhouse. Just because you can do certain types of work doesn't mean you should, especially if it drains you. Number 5, you never feel fully present with your family. When work invades every evening and weekend, you're paying too high a price. If any of these signs hit home, you're not alone. And you're not failing. You're just misaligned. The good news, efficiency isn't about working harder or faster. It's about adjusting how you work so your time, your energy, and your talent are going to the right places. Once you realign those pieces, everything else starts to flow. Better clients, smoother workflows, more time for what matters. Let's walk through how to make that shift. So here are your action steps. To maximize your efficiency, recognizing the problem is step 1. Now it's time to do something about it. You don't need to overhaul your entire business overnight, but you do need to start making intentional changes. These next steps will help you shift from reaction mode to design mode, where your business starts working for you, not the other way around. Here's how to maximize your efficiency by aligning your time, expertise, and client base. If you want to deliver more with less stress, start with the following steps. Number 1, define your ideal week. Don't start with what you can do. Start with what you want to do. How many hours do you really want to work? What time do you want to stop each day? What boundaries do you need to protect? Your family time, your health, your sanity. So you got a spot to write these down in my book. Block out your non-negotiable personal time on a weekly calendar first. Then fill in your work hours after that. Number 2, prioritize your highest return services. Not all deliverables are created equally. Which services generate the most impact, revenue, or satisfaction for you? Where are you consistently in your zone of genius? If you can knock out a $4,000 advisory project in 5 hours, but it takes 8 hours to complete a $500 tax return, you've already got your answer. Number 3, audit your input cost. How much time, energy, and resources go into each service you offer? Look at your calendar. How long do things actually take you? What drains you the most? Tip: use time tracking for 1 week to get honest data. Number 4, align your capacity to your client's true needs. This is key. Your availability should align with your ideal client and what their needs are most. If your ideal client wants quarterly strategy calls and weekly check-ins, don't structure your schedule like a once-a-year tax shop. If your client needs peace of mind, don't make yourself unreachable and overworked. Remember, efficiency isn't about saying yes to everything. It's about saying yes to the right things at the right time for the right people. Number 5, reverse engineer your workflow. Now that you know your desired work hours, your most valuable output, and your realistic input cost, it's time to map your services to fit. Start with your available hours. Divide that by the time each service takes. That's how many clients you can handle. Example: if you want to work 30 hours a week and each client takes 5 hours a week, you can support 6 clients per week or 24 clients per month with some buffer. That's it. And that doesn't factor in any admin time. You can't run a high-performance firm on fumes. You don't get a badge of honor for working yourself into the ground. You get better results when you align your zone of genius, your client's needs, and your personal bandwidth. Efficiency isn't about hustling harder. It's about designing smarter. So take a step back, look at your inputs, look at your outputs, and start making intentional decisions. You're not here to do more. You're here to do your best work for your best clients on your best terms. So if you're interested on where I'm at with my practice, then at the end of this video, you'll see a link to a video that says where I'm now, tax season 2026. And with that, I'm going to break down for you how I've taken this process and where I'm at right now going into the next tax season. Here's a few highlights. I don't carry a cell phone anymore. Here's how many hours I'm going to work during tax season: 2 hours per day. If you are a business that has multiple individuals in it, it can work. And you know what it takes is bravery. All right, so we're going to move on to the next chapter, which will be 10. Stress-reducing technology. Don't skip this because it is not at all going to recommend to you what technology to buy or even how to use technology. I'm going to blow your mind when I tell you about how I take advantage of stress-reducing technology. And no, it's not AI. All right. Hey, thanks for joining the journey. Please continue on. I'd love it if you'd subscribe, if not already. Please like, comment, and if you're getting anything out of this, I'd love for you to share it with a friend. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. On to the next one.
Next season you survive starts here. I've designed a mastermind to keep you alive, sane, and in control while the rest of the industry burns out. I created this for you. Let's go.